I'm Dave from Benediction, and I also sing in Anaal Nathrakh as well. We're at the Eisenwahn festival in Germany, and we have German beer. That's all you need to know. We have been out there a little bit, but we don't like to do too many shows all the time. So festivals are cool. I mean, they're good fun. We're having good fun here tonight, and the festivals we've done with Anaal Nathrakh have been good fun. Especially a couple of them, you know, Inferno in Norway and Hole in the Sky in Norway again, and Brutal Assault in Czech. You know, we did Summer Breeze in Germany. We've done a few festivals and we do enjoy doing it, but we don't like to do it too much. We don't like to play too much live at all. We like to do it a little bit, so that hopefully, maybe we got it wrong, but hopefully when we do play a show near some fans, then it's a special thing. It's not something you will see, you know, every 6 months. It's something that's unusual and special in that way, so we don't do it too much. We're starting to write new songs now. Yeah, I spoke to Mick yesterday, because for the most part there's only two of us. There's me and Mick, and I spoke to him yesterday, and he said he's starting to get some ideas for a new album, and I have new ideas all the time, every day. So it's impossible to say exactly when, but I think maybe we'll record a new album before the end of the year. Maybe at the start of next year we'll go to America for a little while, but then after that we don't really have any plans until maybe next summer. And next year Benediction are playing at Hellfest. Okay,
perfect. So you will, okay.
So maybe we get Anaal Nathrakh as well. I don't know yet. It's a long time away, man. So it will be horrible and torturous to listen to, but I think there will be some more unusual things involved. I mean, if you come from Belgium, right, you probably know Maurice de Jong, who does Gnaw Their Tongues and Adelating. He's a Dutch guy, I believe. But he did a new album called Cloak of Altering. The band is called Cloak of Altering. You wouldn't have heard that. I don't think it's out yet, but he's done a new thing. And that's kind of like early black metal symphonic stuff with unusual sounds mixed in, some breakbeat, some weird sound stuff, and we don't intend to copy that, because we don't copy anything, we just do what we do, but something sort of in that kind of way, a little bit unusual. I think there'll be some strange sounds involved, but instead of doing it in any conventional way, it will probably be me doing it, or maybe we'll find something. I don't know. We kind of intend for the next album to be a little bit different. That's all. That's all I can tell you right now, because we haven't done it yet. I have an idea in my head of what Anaal Nathrakh is, and Mick is the same, and we don't have to create that. We just have to let it happen. It's not something you have to work at doing. So yeah, say you were, I don't know, architects or writers or something like that. You would think, right, now we have to build a new building, or now we have to write a new book, and we have to think about how to do it. We have to put the pieces in place, and we have to write the chapters, and we have to think of the characters. It's not like that. You get. Do you remember? Do you remember? I remember having a washing machine when I was a tiny little boy with my mum, we got our first washing machine, and it was two tanks, and they were huge things. You know, it was a long time ago, and we couldn't afford a new modern thing. We just had an ancient thing that somebody threw out. And all you do is open it up and put the stuff in, and then it just works. That, to us, that is what making Anaal Nathrakh is like. It's like opening a door and then having a net and just catching everything that comes out of the door, and then closing the door again, because you don't want to walk into that room. That would be a bad thing. That would be scary. I mean, if you think of great poets, I mean, I don't want to try and sound like some kind of tortured artist, but if you think of great poets, they didn't sit down and go, oh God, fuck me, I've got to write a new poem now. Oh shit, what am I going to write about? No, they had to do it. They couldn't stop doing it. You just, it's something that burns inside to do, and that's how it works with us. Because Mick lives, at the moment, he lives in California. There you go, look at the size of that man's tongue. He's an amazing tongue. But I've actually seen him, you know, a pint glass. He can get it out and balance the whole thing on his tongue. But ladies everywhere. There you go. Anyway, yeah, Mick lives in California, so he has contact with a lot of bands in the area because he's a producer. And they got in touch with him because they're from in Mexico, I think, but not too far from California. They're not from like southern Mexico; they're from northern Mexico. And they got in touch with him to produce an album that they wanted to do. And he listened to what they were doing, and he just thought, this singer's weird. He has a very strange voice. I mean, it sounds good, and when you hear the whole album together, it doesn't sound all that weird. It just sounds like a good singer. But when you hear it, because when you record, you hear each individual thing differently, and it was like, it's a really strange voice. So he just thought, when we were doing the album, it's like, what would be cool to do? Because when we have people who are guest vocalists or people involved, they're people who we think are cool, whose work is cool, and we admire, and we think it will be an interesting mix with what we do to have them have a go. And that was just one of those things. Mick had produced this band, and it's like, he's got a very distinctive singer, he's got a particular sound to him, and it will probably sound cool mixed with this Anaal Nathrakh song. So it's like, give him a go. Yeah. And he wrote all the words, and he got very involved with it and everything. I read the words afterwards, and it was cool. He put all of his effort into it. You know, he was engaged with the idea of doing the song. So it was excellent to see what he did. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's because the album we did not too long ago, the album that came out, Passion, the album, Rainer Landfairman, the German guy who did one of the songs, he's one of the most amazing singers I've ever heard, and he's not even a singer, he's a bass player. He doesn't sing usually. He did one album with one band in like 1994, and that's it. That's the only thing he's done as a singer. He just does bits in the background of his normal band, and so to get him to do it was just incredible. What he does is just, it's amazing. It's amazing. It just sounds like a guy who's having his testicles cut off. It sounds amazing. And the other guy we got on Passion as well, Alan Dubin. I've been a fan of Carnate, his main band, for years. There is nothing that sounds as evil and horrible as Carnate. And to me, evil and horrible is a good thing. You know, I mean, metal's fine, metal's great, it makes your heart pump and everything, but the thing when I'm sitting at home on my own, what I enjoy listening to is something that it just makes you feel like the wallpaper's crawling off the walls and it hates you, and that's what Alan does. You know, that's the atmosphere he brings. So for people we could work with in the future, I can't think of people better than that.
No.
But I don't know, there's only ever been two people we asked to do it who didn't do it. One of them just said no. which was a guy from an English noise band called White House. You probably wouldn't know them. They're very strange, very, very horrible, very bad. They're bad men. One of the guys who used to be in the band is in an insane asylum in England. He used to try and kill people with chairs when they played and everything. Well, anything, that'll do. You know, he was a crazy psycho. But Philip Best is fascinated with paedophilia, which isn't a good thing, but it's kind of fascinating how fascinated he is with it, if you know what I mean. He's not a paedophile, but it's just, there's something so wrong about the whole thing. You look at his blog on the internet and it's just, it makes you feel uncomfortable. And I don't want to endorse, of course, paedophilia is a horrible, evil thing, but just something that can make you look at it and go, ooh, hang on, I don't feel comfortable there. To me, that's engaging. But he said no. But the other guy we had was from GGFH, Global Genocide Forget Heaven. It's like an American dark techno thing. And we asked him and he said yes. But I then looked on the internet and found out he'd sold all his equipment and turned his back on music and wasn't doing it anymore. So next time, if we could convince him to borrow some equipment and to have a go, that would make me happy.
Yeah, it would be easy.
I don't know. Because he doesn't own any of the equipment he needs anymore. You know, he needs things. He needs, that's a printer, but he has a special sound to the way he does things. But maybe we could get him. And I would really like to get. There used to be a Japanese punk band called the Boredoms. And the guy who's the singer for them, whose name is a Japanese Yamatsuka Ai or something that sounds like that. It's a Japanese name, so I have difficulty remembering it. But he was crazy, really crazy. It's like there was a Boredom show in Japan, and everyone was standing there waiting for about an hour. All the other bands have finished. The stage is just sitting there waiting, and it's like, where is this guy? All of the band are here. Where's the singer? And then he arrived driving a JCB digger, you know, the huge machinery things that you build houses with. He drove through the wall with it. And then the last Boredom show, someone stopped him. He had a petrol bomb in his hand, and he was about to throw it on the stage, and someone just grabbed his hand. It was on fire. He was gonna blow the whole crowd up. So, and he's stopped doing that. He's not quite as crazy anymore, but he still exists in the music world. So I'd like to get him to do something. I don't know what he'd do, but I just want to find out what he does. Yeah. I don't like someone who's controversial on purpose. I like someone who's controversial because they can't help it. They're just mad. That's cool. Someone who does something just to offend people, just to make people talk about them. That's kind of boring. You know, it can be interesting sometimes. I mean, Marilyn Manson on Antichrist Superstar.
He was.
I thought that was kind of interesting because of the way he just held up a mirror to American society, but it wasn't. It was a distorted mirror. You know when you go to the seaside or something, they have mirrors that make you look strange. It was kind of like that, but a lot of it was just to shock people. If Anaal Nathrakh give a track to that person, if they do something predictable, then it's just for show. They're not genuinely crazy. But if they do something that makes you just what? What's that? You know. So I remember, we're going on too long for your tape, but I remember a few years ago, you know, Melvins, American band Melvins. They did a song, not a song, they did an album called The Maggot, I think it's called, and they collaborated with other people. They had Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth, and they had Hank Williams Jr., or Hank Williams III, and they had David Yao from Jesus Lizard, and they had Mike Patton, who's kind of from Faith No More, but he's Mike Patton. and they gave him a song and he gave it back to them, and it was all different, all totally changed, and it was just balmy and crazy. Now, he isn't someone who has a reputation for being a psychopath, but he's a genuinely different kind of person to who you would normally meet in the street. He's a very unusual man. Well, that's the kind of thing that makes me happy. That's interesting to me. I would love to give him one. So if you listen to, you know, Björk,
Okay.
the Icelandic singer, right? Her album Medulla. Is it now her album's Volta is her most recent album.
Okay.
The album before that, I think, was Vespertine, or anyway, it might be Medulla's in between those. But Medulla is Björk, Razel, who's a beatbox guy, Mike Patton doing a lot of sounds in the background. There's no instruments on it, it's all voice, the whole Björk album.
Okay.
But it's just weird noises and strange things. And there's a game on the Xbox and PS3 called Left 4 Dead. It's like a zombie sort of thing, and all the zombies in the background. And that's all Mike Patton.
Seriously?
He did the whole soundtrack. And he's done other games and stuff. And I think that's fascinating. That's amazing. That is. There's some guy who used to play. He played Rock in Rio in front of 250,000 people, playing Faith No More songs. But now he sits in a room going. That's amazing.
He's huge.
And I would love to do that. So I would love to see him do something with. I'm not going to ask him to do it because it'd be pointless because he's a big famous guy. But that's what's interesting. Something that's genuinely different and unusual and surprising. That's the whole point. Just because the guys involved lost interest, they wanted to do something else. It's one of those things. You know how couples get married, and then for the first 6 months, 2 years, however long it is, scientists have theories about how long it lasts. There's a honeymoon and it's fantastic, and then after that, you're friends who have sex. Basically, that's what a marriage becomes, and then after that. Well, you're just friends, really. Sex kind of stops. Well, Mistress got to the point of we had the honeymoon period, and we're friends who have sex. It's a horrible way of putting it. We didn't actually do that. But then we got to the point of being old and comfortable with each other, and just thought, fuck it. Let's not do this anymore.
I understand.
You need bile. You need bile and black blood and drug references and all sorts of horrible stuff to make. Because of what Mistress was, it was so hateful and violent and just unpleasant was the word for Mistress, and it kind of stopped being that anymore. So it was unpleasant doing it as well, you know, but in a good way. But its time had passed. Just because we like the name. That's it. That is literally it. We like the film, and have you seen the film? I don't know.
Yeah, but it was long ago. It's John Boorman.
Yeah, John Boorman. But the guy who plays Merlin, I can't remember his name at the moment, but he's a particularly abrasive actor. He's a great actor. He's done Shakespeare and all that kind of thing. But every now and again, he's on stage and he beats up the director, or he can't deal with the structure. So when in that film, he's a very unusual sort of Merlin. The whole film sort of doesn't fit. The actors involved and everything, they're too much like normal people saying the wrong words. And Merlin has this weird, down-to-earth quality about him. It seems like a guy who actually was a wizard, but he happened to be walking on the street outside, just came in, well, you're a wizard, come and say this, and he's like, okay, and then says it. So there's something sort of dislocated, yet still kind of magical about the way he does it.
Unusual.
Yeah, and we just thought that portrayal was cool, and we just stole the word from it. That's all. And then after that, we stopped thinking about it. I've said it in interviews a million times before. What is a Metallica? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what a Metallica is. What does the word mean? Well, it means the band. It means nothing other than the band. Well, to us, Anaal Nathrakh, yeah, it comes from the film, and we think the film's cool. But as soon as we took that as a name, we stopped thinking about it, really. But the film isn't really related to the band anymore.
It's not the film that is related, but maybe the attitude of the way it was done, the
possibly, yeah.
Woman and the actor, you say?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit in the film where Merlin turns around to somebody that I can't remember why, but he turns around and he goes, "Get on with it." I don't know why he says it, but we still say that to each other just because of the attitude involved in how he said it. But it's more than that. There's no deeper significance. There's no religious thing involved or anything like that. It's just a name. Bye. Enjoy yourself.